Hello everyone, it's Amy, and I am here to do a video response for Marsha. That's ZeeCee's Creation, and she is having a 100 subby giveaway challenge, and she actually now has over 200 subbies. Very well done, Marsha. That's great. And so she wanted you to do a video and to mention her challenge. And if you don't know Marsha, that's ZeeCee's Creation, and I will put the spelling of that down below. I don't know how to do the link thing. I suppose I should figure that out someday. But I will put the spelling down there, and if you're not subscribed to her channel, go check her out. And because she's just a wonderful lady. And so she wanted you either to show something or to do a tutorial. And I've been wanting to do this ever since I saw Victor was making a scroll, and I wanted to make one. And so I thought this would be great to do a tutorial on how to make a scroll. And this is wallpaper border. Do you have any of these? If you're a craft hoarder like me, you probably do, because they kind of went out of style. And, you know, all the different stores had them really cheap. So, but what are you going to do with them? Anyways, I saw Victor Crafter make a scroll. He didn't make it out of wallpaper border, but and it made me think this would make a perfect scroll, because the one neat thing about wallpaper is the back of the wallpaper I find really great to paint on and color on and everything else. And the other thing is, like, this one is like a vinyl covered paper, so it's it doesn't soak through. So what I'm going to do is, I just took a paper towel roll, and I already did one, but the way, because I think this is too thick to be like the base of your scroll that you roll it around, so I just made it smaller. And I just did that by cutting it in half. And try and make your line straight so that it rolls easier. And then all you do is just scrunch it up, roll it tight, kind of roll it on an angle like that, and then roll it on an angle the other way, because that also then gets your ends tight. And then just keep rolling it and work it for a little bit, because you want it to kind of basically be your size before you put some tape around it to hold it together. You don't want it to keep wanting to get bigger. So, you know, it did take me, I was just watching a video this morning and just kind of playing with it and going back and forth and back and forth. And eventually it got to the size that I thought was a good size for a scroll. So I'm just going to work this just a little bit more and try and get it to the size that I want. I want to thank everybody for watching my craft room videos. So it has been a long time in the making. I thought it would take 2 weeks, and it took over 3. Just over 3. I kept saying to Papa, I think I'm going to be done today. I think I'm going to be done today. By like the 4th or 5th day, he was like laughing at me. So, but I did finally get it done. I kept finding one more thing that I, you know, wanted to do. Alrighty, when you get that to where about the size that you think you want it to be, and kind of make sure that both ends are about the same size, because otherwise, if it's on an angle, if one end's bigger than the other, what's going to happen is when you go to roll your paper on it, it won't roll straight. And then I just used masking tape. If I can get this started here. Oh no. I hate it when the tape does that. There we go. So I just used masking tape, and I taped one end. And I'm not going to worry whether it's like really super flat or anything, because I'm going to kind of texturize it anyways. So, and then I just want to make sure that this end, before I tape it, is about the same. Just stick my finger in there. Stick my finger in there. Make sure that that feels about the same. Okay, and I've got this taped. I'm going to cut this tape because it's not quite straight. Align all of those edges up. because that's what makes it be off a little bit. Sorry about the dogs. Zeke, that's enough. They think they hear something and they just have to protect the household. The thing is, like 90% of the time they just think they hear something. They don't really hear anything. Find the end of my tape again. Okay, so see, I think that's about the size that I want it. So I'm just going to tape around there. Okay, and really push down good where the lines are. And then I'm going to put one in the middle, and then just go at an angle all the way down the whole thing so that the whole thing is, so that this whole line is taped together. It also gives me something good to paint on. And I just put the tape at an angle and just start rolling down. And I almost feel like this is getting too straight, so I'm just going to rip it. Put it at more of an angle. And start again. Yeah, that seems a lot better. And it does seem to, I noticed with the other one, getting a little bit, I'm too tight, so I've got to take it off. Or by the time I get to the other end, this end is going to be a lot tighter, and the other end is going to be a lot looser. So this takes time, and I could edit it out, but I might as well let you see it so that you don't maybe do the same thing. Although I did that on my first one, and I didn't learn from the first one, so maybe you can learn from my mistakes. Maybe not, since I didn't. Okay, it just needs to be on there loosely, just to hold the whole thing together. Getting a little too tight on that end, so I'm going to loosen it back up again. Like I said, it's only a base, so it doesn't have to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we've got our tubes, and what I also did was to hold the inside from, like, to hold it from moving, like continuing to maybe get a little smaller or larger. I taped the inside all the way around like this, because that's going to hold that together, and it's not going to let that inside move at all. So we'll just get those on there like that. And I might do it a little bit neater if I wasn't trying to do it on here, but I know this is boring. It's almost like watching paint dry. And I think that I'm a little bit skinnier here than here. I'm sure that I am. So when you do yours, try and make sure that you really take the time to get those as close to the same size as you possibly can, because it will make it a lot easier for you in the end. So this one, you know, is really, really close. Yes, and this one is definitely off, but we'll see how it works. So, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, no, I'm not. I'm going to eventually take this and attach it to here, and that's going to be, and then I'm going to take this one, I'm going to roll this all the way the other way and attach the other one to the other end. But the first thing that we need to do is cut these to the length that we want them. And so that will help me a little bit because I'm going to cut that shorter end off a little bit. And I'm just going to hold this and put it maybe, I think I'm going to go, that's about an inch. So I'm going to come down to about here, and I'm just going to cut that off. There we go. And I'll retape that in a second, and then I'm just going to take this one, hold them next to each other because I want them the same size, and then cut that off. There we go. It's a little bit crooked. That looks better. Okay, and now again, I'm just going to tape the insides. Now I haven't decided about how I want to, I think I am just going to paint my tubes brown because I just don't want them to be this masking tape. I think that I may throw some, maybe some napkin or tissue paper on it, just for texture and for color. And just do that with my watered down Elmer's glue. And Elmer's glue is just PVA glue. When you hear, I know like in England and stuff, they always call their white glue PVA glue. And in the beginning, I didn't know what that was. And then I heard someone say that PVA glue, their white glue, is just the same as their PVA glue is the same as our white glue. So there we go. I have two pieces. This one's a little smaller than that one, but that's okay. At least now that tube's closer on each end. So, alright, I'm going to grab some tissue paper and my PVA glue, and then I'm going to come back and put it on here. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I just grabbed this tissue paper, and I thought that this was really pretty and might look fitting for a scroll. And grab a brush. I just have I always have this bowl of watered down PVA at all times. If it starts to get low, I just refill it up again. It's about 2 parts of glue to 1 part of water. And this could, although I don't usually let it sit that long, but this actually could sit for months and months and months, and it does not dry out as long as you just have a good fitting lid on the top. And all I'm going to do is I cut this tissue paper just a little longer than the length of our scrolls. And I am just going to paint this on here like this. Take our scroll and put it on there. And then just try and get it a little straight. Just wrap it around there. And I'm going to go, I'm not sure exactly, I cut the full length of the tissue paper, and I cut it in half, so I actually have 2 halves right now. I'm not sure how much I'm going to put on here, but I think I'm just going to roll the whole length and just put it all on there. That will make it sturdier. And it's wrinkling, that's okay. I like that. I like texture, that's why I like to do things with like tissue paper. The tissue paper and the glue, you'd be hard pressed to get it perfectly flat. You could if you tried, but it just gets a really nice crinkle when you put the glue on it. And a lot of things, when I do my boxes, I actually take the tissue paper and wad it up before I even put the glue on. And then I just kind of open it up and stick it on there because I'm looking for those crinkles. I like them. And then what you can do is you can put a little bit of Rub and Buff or something on it, and it will highlight the tops of all those wrinkles. And I really like the way that that looks. So this one actually is probably not as wrinkly as I would want it. There we go. And then I'm just going to tuck my ends in and since they're all covered with glue, they should be good. We're going to put a cap on these ends anyways, so it doesn't matter what it looks like inside there. So there we go. That was really easy. That one is all done. And I'm just going to really quickly do this other one too. Sounds like Papa's stirring, so I think he's getting ready to get up. So I have to kind of do this in a hurry. Come back later and finish it. It's going to have to dry anyways, so that works out really well. But yeah, I just thought that this would be cool. And then I'm going to use this scroll to just like doodle in and play in and, you know, make little pictures. Basically, instead of an art journal, it's going to be my art scroll. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. And then you just start at one end and roll it up on the other side as you go. And when you get to the end, you just make another one. Which, oh, I should have looked at the label on that. I'm not sure how long that is, but it's probably quite long. So it'll probably take me a long time to fill up the whole thing, which I like. And there we go. And because this is all wet on here, it's wetting the back of the paper at the same time. There we go. That one's nice and crinkly. I think better than the other one. Tuck that in. Turn it around and tuck that in. Okay, so there's both ends of our scroll. There's one, and there's two. And this is so simple. I mean, this is real time, and this hasn't taken very long. And now all we need to do is make a little cap and put some rub and buff on our wrinkles here and put our paper on. And we're done, and boom, we've got a nice art scroll. Quicker than it would take me to make an art journal. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this all up. I'm going to get some parchment paper and let these dry. And then I'll be back in a while when they're dry. And we'll go further. Okay, I thought I'd just show you really quick. Papa hasn't rung the bell yet, so I thought I'd show you really quick what I've done. I cleaned up my mess, and then I used my heat gun to dry, to start drying them. And all I did was, to start with, because they were very wet, this is just a mandrel, but you can use a pencil, a pen, or whatever. And then I just stuck it in the end like this, and then just dried it and dried it and dried it like that until the outside was dry. Once the outside was dry, then I went ahead and I like squished it like this as I was drying it. And so that gave some more texture, you know, some more lines, and you know, helped it all stick together on the inside. But mainly I was trying to get just more texture on here so that when we go to paint it and put the rub and buff on it, we'll be able to see that texture. So basically I just squashed. I dried it, you know, in the inside, and once that was kind of dry, then I just stuck my finger in there and pushed those up against the edges so that they're not in the way. And then I went to the second one. Now when you set this one down and you pick up your second one, don't set it on regular paper or anything, because what's going to happen is there's a lot of layers of glue in here. So when I first dried it with the mandrel, you know, holding it, the outside got dry, and then I was able to squish on it and dry some more, and squish and dry and do the ends. But what happens is then when you set that down and let it sit for a little bit, that glue from the inside starts coming out because it's not dry yet. So I just set mine, I've got my water thing here without any water in it. So after I dried them, I set them in there, and I just went back and forth a couple of times. So, and I didn't do it for that long. It's probably been a total of 5 minutes or something. But I kind of just wanted to show you that, you know, as it's drying, as you get the outside dry, to squish on it like this, because that will give you those, it'll give you extra creases. So see, like right there, some really nice texture. And that's what you're looking for, you know, is that kind of like wood feel, you know, old texture feel. So yeah, just dry it back and forth. And I'm going to let these sit now for a while and go make Papa's breakfast. But I will probably come back every so often and give them a quick dry. And as soon as they're dry, I'm going to paint them brown to antique them, and then we'll put some gold rub and buff on there to pick up some of those, highlight some of those lines. And then it will be a matter of making some caps for each end, and I'll find something for that while Papa's having his breakfast. So just wanted to show you that really quick, that once you get the outside dried, to give it a squash, because then that inside glue is going to start catching the paper and, you know, holding it in that wrinkly state. So just keep doing that every so often, and that'll keep your wrinkles on there. So, and it'll take out any air bubbles that may be between those layers of tissue paper also. So, and don't forget to dry the inside, because we're going to want to like put something in there to hold our cap on. So you do want to get that tissue paper out of your way just by pushing it in once you get it a little bit dry. And by drying this way into the hole, that also helps dry the from the inside out and then from the outside in, so it'll help dry it faster. Okay, back in a little bit. Okay, so these are now dry, and what I did was, while Papa and I were having breakfast in our morning visit, I actually turned the oven on to 170, put them on some parchment paper on a tray, and just let them sit in the oven. And so now they're nice and hard and nice and dry. And so what we need to do is we need to create an end for them. And I was going to do a round end, but I decided that because I want to be able to roll this out and have it stay flat, I decided to make the end square. So what I chose to do that was just this little square block. I just have some little pieces of wood like this, and then I have these little foam buttons, and they fit in the ends really nicely, just the right size. So what I did was, because I wanted it to be longer than that, I just took my little piece of wood, and because I want it to be in the center as close as possible, I just went from corner to corner each way, and then that will give us center. There we go. Now we have a center on our block. And then I just took my glue and I put some right there in the middle. And then I just glued these pieces together. And I glued these together before I put them on the wood, because I want to make sure that I can line them up nicely. Oh! Drop that one. Make sure that's in the center. Okay, and this one doesn't need any. Okay, so now that I've got those, I want to just make sure that they're all in a line. Give them a good, get them in line like this. Give them a good push, and then just kind of eyeball the center on this wood piece. And give that a good push. Okay, so now these are going to be our end caps, and I am just going to put some glue around the edges. Oops. And this one's still kind of loose, but by the time that we push it in there, I'm also going to put glue around this way. Okay, and then I'm going to take those. I should have used the ones that dried a little bit better first, but alright, and then I'm just going to take this, line it up with the hole, and this is the worst hole. This is the small hole. There we go. Get those pushed in there. Kind of give it a look and make sure it's still center. And it does look like that's about center. So I'm just going to, oops, yeah, definitely should have let this one sit for a few minutes. Just wipe that glue around there like that. There. Okay, now we've got that. Now the one thing that I want to do is that because the paper's going to want to roll back on itself all the time. Oh, I should have got a little funnel. I don't know that that would work. Okay, I'm just going to make a mess here now. Okay, here we go. I'm going to just take little rocks, and I'm going to wind up getting them all over the floor, but that's all right. Pick them up later. And I'm going to fill this with little rocks, because that's going to give us some nice weight. And so when we roll that scroll out and we're coloring on it or doing whatever we're doing, it's not going to roll back up on us. So between the weight of the rocks, and these are just little fish tank rocks, and or you can just get little rocks out of your driveway. They're on the inside, doesn't matter. Give them a quick wash off and stick those in there. And I want to make sure I don't fill it too full that I can't get the other. I'm going to need to leave at least this much space so that I can fit that in there. Okay, I think I'm going to call that good. And then I'm just going to take this one. Uh-oh. See, now that one, I've got a problem with because I didn't let it dry. But I'm just going to take this one and put glue around the edges and glue around the wood. I'm just going to take that and push it right on there. There we go. Okay. Now, oops. I would not be having this much problem. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want whatever you find to fit inside there. You can use a cork. I tried some corks, but they were not big enough. But you can use a cork or, you know, little things like this. You can cut little pieces of chipboard or cardboard to the right size circle and glue those together so that you've got something to kind of stick inside there. But when you glue that together, you're going to want to let it sit for a little while and dry before you do this part of stuffing it inside, because this one right here is going to give me a bit of a problem. So what I'm going to really quickly do is I'm going to put the cap on this one, on both, and then put the rocks in and put the cap on the other end. And I'm going to give this a hit with my heat dryer to try and dry that glue a little bit, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I have glued on the ends. And I have filled them with rocks so they're nice and sturdy and heavy. And now I am going to let them dry overnight because I want them to be really good and solid before we just decorate them. So I'm going to make this a part one, and I will be back in the morning. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon to finish them and put the scroll on, and they'll be all finished. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you're enjoying this. I know that building the base of something is not the funnest thing to watch, but you got to know how to build the base to finish. So, but yeah, I could try and decorate these right now, and they would stay together, but the problem is going to be is they're just not real sturdy, and if you're messing with it before they're good and dry, they're going to get a little bit loose. You know, it's going to get a little wiggly, and, you know, it's not going to seal really well. So because I want to use this for a long time, I want to go ahead and let them sit overnight and, you know, be ready to go tomorrow to decorate. They'll be good and solid, and I will have something that will last me a really long time. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope that you have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.